For the nationals in US, a limited crowd for Joe Biden's inauguration in the shadow of pandemic. Welcome to our newsroom. Before the opening of the performance ceremony in the main hall, Prime Minister Abdelkader Kamel Mohammed participated in an informal meeting with President Alpha Condé and his wife in the presence of numerous heads of state. Present were the Burkinabé Roch Marc Christian Kaboré, the Congolese Denis Sassou Nguesso, the Malian Ba Ndao, the Sierra Leone Julius Mada Bio, the Liberian George Weah, the Ethiopian President Sahle Work Zewde, the Comorian Azali Assoumani, the Togolese For Ezonesina Nassim Bey, the Ghanaian Nana Akufo-Addo, the Mauritanian President Mohamed Ould Ghazouani, and the Chadian President Idriss Déby. A large crowd attended the swearing-in ceremony of President Alpha Condé to lead Guinea for the next 6 years, before also the first president of the Fourth Republic of Guinea. The Prime Minister Abdelkader Kamel Mohammed takes part in the swearing-in ceremony of President Alpha Condé in Conakry. The Constitutional Court met for solemn session in the presence of dozens of African heads of state, prime ministers, and heads of delegations of friendly countries from African, Arab, and European countries constitute bodies of the Republic of Guinea and representatives of regional and international organizations. Following the example of friendly countries, Prime Minister Abdelkader Kamel Mohammed, the Republic of Djibouti, at the performance ceremony of President Professor Alpha Condé, who will be installed at the Supreme Court of Guinea officially on 21 December 2020, according to announcement made by the President of the Constitutional Court, Amadou Lamine. The Prime Minister represented President Gele at the performance ceremony, which took place at the Mohammed V Palace in Conakry, and was accompanied by the Djibouti ambassador to Guinea, based in Morocco, and his chief of staff, Ali Silai Abdallah. The joyful and festive popular atmosphere was palpable around and in the great hall of the movement of the Mohammed V Palace, where traditional Guinean folklore and musical group presented a varied show and dance before the opening of the Constitutional Court of Guinea. President Alpha Condé was sworn yesterday at the Palace of Nations, also known as Mohammed V Palace, for a term of 6 years before the Constitutional Court of Guinea, chaired by Amadou Lamine, who had proclaimed the victories of President Alpha Condé against 11 candidates in the first rounds of presidential election. The performance ceremony was led by the President of the Constitutional Court, Amadou Lamine, assisted by members of the Prosecutor's Court and clerks. The President Alpha Condé was summoned before the court, followed by the readings of the minutes of court on the victories of the President Condé, with a comfortable scores in front of 11 candidates of the first and second round. The national anthem sounded several times during the swearing-in ceremony of President Alpha Condé, followed by the handing over to the necklace and of Grand Masters of the National Orders. Then President Professor Alpha Conde made a remarkable interventions on his mission during the next 6 years for the economic and social development of the people of Guinea, of which he is the president. He promised to improve the approach for the good of the people of Guinea, of which he is the president for 6 years, and to govern differently for the general interest of the whole population of Guinea. The performance ceremony was closed with the Guinean national anthem and a presidential luncheon hosted by President Alpha Conde to all the distinguished guests, including many heads of state, attend the performance ceremony for a new 6-year term. After participating in the swearing ceremony of President Alpha Conde, the Prime Minister Abdulkader Kamil Mohammed met a delegation of Djiboutian students in Conakry. There are more than 20 students studying general veterinary medicine and pharmacy and are grouped in an association headed by Dr. Abdallah Ahmed, the 6 years of medicine, to carry out social actions of solidarity between them. Being far from the countries during the exchange, several points were raised, including the recognition of diploma and visa for entry into Guinea, and they expressed their urgent need in order to complete their university studies in the best possible condition. The Prime Minister Abdulkader Kamil Mohammed encouraged the young Djiboutian students to persevere in order to complete their university studies and promised to support them through the Djibouti embassy based in Morocco. He also congratulated the students for the warm welcome given to him the day before his arrival in Conakry at the Hotel Kaloum with the Djiboutian flag, a patriotic act very much noticed by the Djiboutian delegations, who appreciate the patriotic gestures of the young Djiboutian who facilitate the stay of delegation by offering their services on a voluntary basis. The Minister of Justice and Penitentiary Affairs, Ali Hassan Bahdoun, in collaboration with UNDP and European Union, organized this morning at the People's Palace a meeting for the official launch of the support program for the justice sectors in the Republic of Djibouti, where present the Minister of Justice, Ali Hassan Bahdoun, Ms. Moumina Hamid Hassan, Minister of Women and Family, the Minister of Trade Hassan Hamad Ibrahim, and the President of CNDI Suleiman Omar Udin, and parliamentarians Ms. Barbara Manzi, United States Resident Coordinators in Djibouti, Ms. Fatma El Sheikh, UNDP representative in Djibouti, Fabrice Basil, the first European advisors in Djibouti, as well as all the representatives, officers and magistrates of the various judicial authorities funded by the European Union. The aim of this project is to promote the rule of law at the regional and international level. At the beginning of the event, a presentation on the scope of this project was made.
Justice and our development partner, the European Union, in launching this new justice project. The project comes as a scale-up of the existing partnership between UNDP and the Ministry of Justice across the past few years. It's a critical pillar for Djibouti in realizing His Excellency the President vision of the 2035 for Djibouti, and the inclusion pillar of the upcoming National Development Plan. It is also a critical pillar for accelerating SDG 16, which talks about just inclusive societies. It is evidence that the socio-economic development of any country requires operational and transparent judicial system. And it requires also a governance system that enables the community to reach out to their human rights. And I think this project comes as a realization and a vast opportunity for the government of Djibouti to scale up its outreach towards its citizens in different areas of justice sector.
For his part, the Minister of Justice and Penitentiary Affairs in charge of human rights, Mr. Ali Hassan Bahdoun, has indicated the aim of this new project is to promote the rule of law at regional and international level. In line with its analysis of provisional budgetary provision of the state for 2021, an examination started the day before the Committee of Finance at the Parliament, General Economist and Planning, chaired by Deputy Sharmake Musa Arwe, began on Wednesday, December 16, hearings of Ministerial Department to inquire about the forecasts of credit allocate and the management modalities of these resources in the presence and with the participation of a large audience composed of member of Finance Commission and non-member of Parliament, the Minister of Energy Yunus Ali Geddi and the Minister of National Education Mustafa Muhammad Mahamoud. Throughout the day, the Minister of Budget Abdul Karim Aden Sher, supported by senior officials of this department, have provided their detailed insights on projects and programs under the ministries in this post-crisis COVID year. Within the framework of rehabilitation work and Zero Slums project implemented jointly by ADDS and Arulos, and following studies on the restructurings of the area, a meeting of steering committee in charge of presentations of the tender documents and future construction work of a land in Layable took place this morning at the People's Palace. The project benefits from technical support from the ADDS by financing from the World Bank. The sectoral ministers concerned by the project were invited, notably the Minister of Housing and her colleagues for social affairs, the Secretary Generals of the sectoral ministries concerned, the French ambassador to Djibouti, the OVD and EDD, the mayors of city, who were particularly enthusiastic about this pilot project, since it will help change people's lives. In addition, a video was shown relating the achievement and project prospects of ADDS, the training provided by the young people from disadvantaged background in order to bring young people out of their state of distress and eventually prepare them to take over tomorrow's work. Rich and instructive trainings which remain essential insofar as they allow the setting up of groups of young people brought to get along and coexist in the achievement of a common project, which is that of the creation and the perpetuation of an income-generating activity. Happy to contribute alongside our partners and eager to see the completion of and implementation of this program, said the Minister of Housing. For his part, the Secretary General of the Finance Minister, Abdulrazak Ahmed Idris, has indicated that these rich and instructive trainings, which remain essential as they allow the setting up of groups of young people brought to get along and coexist in the achievements of a common project, which is that of the creation and the perpetuation of an income-generating activity. For his part, the Minister of Housing, Ms. Amina Abdi Aden, said that this event was charms relating the achievement and prospects of the IDDS and the training provided by young people from disadvantaged backgrounds in order to bring young people out of their state of distress and eventually prepare them to take over tomorrow's work. The training workshop in management and leadership for decentralization stakeholders under the aegis of the ministers in charge of decentralization. A 3-day training workshop in management and leadership is organized from 15 to 17 December at French Institute of Djibouti in the framework of the decentralization and local development support programs funded by the European Union and implemented by the implementing agencies Expertise France. This training, which focuses on the capacity building components, is intended for the senior officials at the Secretary of State in charge of decentralization, the 5 Secretary General of the regional councils, the mayor of his deputy, the Secretary General of the mayor's offices, as well as the president of the municipality. It is expected that at the end of the 3 days of training, participants will be able to define and understand what leadership is, to grasp the different roles, values, responsibilities, and decision-making of a leader. For his part, the Secretary General of the Minister of Decentralization, Mohammed Issa Faraj, has indicated in his speech this training, which focuses on the capacity building components, is intended for senior officials of the Secretary of State in charge of decentralization. Within the framework of the multifaceted fight against malaria, the president of Bul'aus Commune, Mr. Mohammed Omar Ismail, and the directors of ENSPD, Dr. Farhan Mohammed Ali, have jointly launched vectoral control activities and the destructions of larval sites in the municipality of Bul'aus. To this end, the ENSPD team carried out an anti-vectoral control campaign, particularly through space sprayings in this district. Equipped with new spray gun vehicle, the ENSPD's mobile column has crisscrossed the main arteries of the districts of the capital to effectively combat the proliferation of malaria carrying mosquitoes. In addition, these space spraying actions are supported by community health workers from these districts and by a team of entomologists who carry out the spraying techniques to eliminate larval deposits in these septic tanks. The Ministers of Health invited the population to support its vectoral control effort by facilitating these space spraying operations carried out by the ENSPD. The Ministry of Women and Family Affairs closed this morning at UNFD an awareness raising and training sessions which lasted 3 days for members of neighborhood councils of the creation of Community Mutual Development Association. The objective of the event was, among other things, to make them understand the model of community mutual development funds, to inculcate them with a good mastery of the system, solidarity and community health microcredit fund, but also to enable participants who are none other than the president of the neighborhood councils to have a clear and precise idea of the importance and the management committees of the funds and the technical commission. Presentations was made by Humagaba and Ms. Fozia, who explains in local languages the purpose of the meetings and its social dimensions. Before the leaving, the experts, Mr. Umar Uedraogo, technical assistants of the Ministry of Family, an audience of men and women by this increasingly convinced voice about the social dynamics of setting up a fund, the creations of community development mutuals, how to organize it in a standard ways, how to harmonize it through professionalism and organizational quality. It must be noted that the president of the neighborhood councils took in turn to speak, all of them introducing themselves and explaining from the outset how they functioned and what their motivations were in the various neighborhoods. Within the framework of the support programs for agropastoralists in the region of Dakhil, the Regional Agriculture Subdirectorate, in collaboration with the Dakhil Prefecture, distribute wet bran yesterday mornings in the prefecture. More than 1,500 bags of wet bran were distributed to agro-pastoral farmers who were victims of the locust invasion last month. Present at the distribution ceremony were the Deputy Prefect, Mr. Fouad Abubakar, and the Regional Deputy Directors of the Ministry of Agriculture, Ali Muhammad Ali, and the Regional Coordinators of the IFAO in Dakhil, as well as representatives of various cooperatives. Following the death of Mr. Hussein Hamad Ahmed, known under the nicknames of Comandoro, which occurs on Sunday evenings in Bisidiru, the Sultan of Rahait Abdul Qadir Dawood, by the name of the representative of the Sultan of Obor, Abdul Dawood, addresses their sincere condolence to the families of the deceased. In his message of condolence, the Sultan of Rahait recalled that the deceased was a wise man known and admired throughout Djibouti and beyond his fight for freedoms and patriotism, and that the deceased devoted his entire life to serving his countries. We pray to the Almighty to grant him mercy and welcome him into his eternal paradise, and may the earth be light to him. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. For the international scene, a limited crowd for the Biden's inauguration in the shadow of the pandemic. The organizing committee for the inaugurations of future U.S. President Joe Biden is warned on Tuesday that the possibility of attending the ceremony in person of 20 January would be extremely limited. for the public to attend in order to fight the coronavirus pandemic. On January 20, President-elected Joe Biden and Vice President-elected Kamala Harris will be sworn in on Capitol Hill in a historic ceremony that will include strict safety and health protocol. The Presidential Inauguration Committee said in a statement attendance at the ceremony will be extremely limited and the parade that follows will be reimagined. The committee is warned, calling on the public to avoid traveling to Washington. The much anticipated ceremony normally takes place on the steps of Congress in front of the lawns of the National Mall. Every 4 years, hundreds of thousands of spectators flock to the U.S. Capitol to attend, but this year's ceremony will take place in the shadow of the coronavirus epidemic, which has already claimed more than 300,000 lives in the U.S., where contamination records are being set. Another unknown is whether and not Donald Trump, who continues to contest his defeat, will attend the ceremony. The Republican president has also now confirmed that he will receive Joe and Biden for their protocol visit to the White House as part of the transition. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.